Okay, it's past, a little past 8 o'clock, we'll get started. I'll call the Wilton County Redevelopment Commission December 19th, or excuse me, December the 9th, 2025 to order. At this time, I will call for roll call. Teresa Basinger.
Present.
Frank Kessler.
Present.
John Myers.
Present.
Mike Schrader.
Present.
Jill Wester.
Here.
And I'm here. Okay, next on the line is financial presentation to the underlying taxing units.
Thank you. I see we have underlying taxing units in the audience. Joe, you're the only one. So, and you pretty much know what's going on. So this is pretty much just for those viewing this on YouTube, I think. So going, switch over to, there you go. Okay, so I'll just skip through these. We know what TIF is, know what the requirements are, know what TIF is again. Did you get that? Did you? Yeah. Keep going. All background information. There you go. TIFs in Whitley County, just for everybody's information. Turtle Meadows Housing TIF is the newest in Cherubusco, established in 2023, about 80 acres. They actually are almost completely done with their development of their first section up there, so that's underway. They'll actually be pulling permits here in a few weeks before the end of the year is the expectation. So otherwise, no other real changes, so continuing on. As a reminder, these are our 3.5 TIF districts. You've got Union and Rural Connect, and the half is the ADJOURN amended, which is a subset of Union as a designated taxpayer. And then on the other side of the county is Larwill, inclusive of areas within the town of Larwill, and then much of the acreage is only within Richland Township. So going on to the financials of things, looking at the adopted 2026 commission budget, this is broken out by our individual funds, which align pretty much with the individual TIF districts. Not many changes between 26 and 25 here. The only one, actually, the only line item that did change, this is for Union TIF and the subset ADJOURN TIF. We increased the consulting and engineering fees by $50,000 on the expectation of needing to pay outside consultants / engineers for a couple of projects we still have pending there. Moving on to 4503, which is Rail Connect TIF. For 2025, we had anticipated a few more things potentially happening that may have required legal services. Those fortunately, property transfers and so on, those haven't come to fruition, so backing that off for 2026. Training budget, most of our training grants are in the order of 50 to 75,000, so backing that off to 75,000 from 100 to reflect the potential for issuing one training grant in the coming year. So grant total from 2025 to 26 is a reduction in that budget by $35,000. And then Larwill 4508, there was no change in the budget. Essentially these numbers are there in case we have a project come up so that we have that budget already set.
I'm going to interrupt you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I'm good at it. I will say that with the changes that are going on in American Landmaster, and every once in a while I do talk to the property person at Ambassador, that 8-acre lot is for sale, and they're trying to get rid of it, and who knows what they'll do with the cul-de-sac lot. So I'm telling you that to say that I'm showing that piece of property of more people, so who knows if we get a project there next year on it.
So then going on to the required spending plan, which is, as you remember, spending plans are required as of 2024. So this is the second or third year that we've done spending plan, essentially state terminology for budget, but they look at, break things out differently. So looking at our 2026 spending plan, payments on outstanding bonds, leases, and any other debt obligations. We have 3 bonds, Series A and B bonds, which are from Union TIF, and then the ADJOURN/Sotera bond, which is that designated taxpayer. Planned spending on that one's $743,500. That's also inclusive of any fees that we may have, and so on. Payments to eligible entities for educational and training programs, that, as we had discussed, basically earmarking $300,000 to be spread among the 3 different school corporation programs, with the idea of having a more formalized application process going forward. So we have money already in the plan if and when someone wants to bring something forward, so we're not quite so much worried about costs and so on. We're more worried about discussing the merit of the project. Capital expenditures, capital projects, and lease payments. Lease payments would be, for example, the Rogers Market, which has rolled off now, but that mechanism has been very successful. So if we do that again, $200,000 would be in the plan. Capital projects would be our big infrastructure projects, for example, about $4.3 million. Grants and contributions, looking through this, $55,000 would be earmarked for primarily the EDC, however, it could also be other organizations as well. And then training agreements, again, $200,000 to cover any that might come forward. Not sure which ones, but any that might come forward. Professional expenses, these are mostly miscellaneous things. Engineering, as I mentioned before, potentially what we'd be looking at for some of our infrastructure projects, contracted services as well. Going on to more of the other miscellaneous stuff that, again, the state calls out, expenditures to fire or police services. We still have a standing amount of $100,000 earmarked for the fire department whenever they send us an invoice, which we have not yet received an invoice, I believe, for 2025 from the Union Township Fire Department. But it would be there whenever they do. Payment of operating expenses, including employees. We don't have any operating expenses, so that doesn't apply. Expenditures related to military bases don't apply. Eligible efficiency programs, we don't have. Permissible reimbursements for employee training expenses of industrial facilities, specifically pursuant to that IC citation. We don't have that. We do it in a different way. Permissible reimbursements of the county employee services and infrastructure. That would be if the county highway went out and did road work, for example, within the TIF district. So these numbers would reimburse that. We still have $399,800 left in Series A bond that we could expend, so that's what that number comes from. Expenditures from property tax levies pursuant to that citation doesn't apply to us, and the other 2 also don't apply. So with the spending plan, and this is as opposed to the budget is more of the appropriation. The spending plan is if we go beyond appropriations, issue bonds and other things, or have other mechanisms of funds, the total maximum expenditures under the spending plan would be about $7.7 million. If we do have larger projects come in over the next year, we can always modify and resubmit the spending plan back to the fiscal body. And I believe both commissioners and council have to take that. Going on to expenditures from 4,500, which is the redevelopment commission generally. This is just any expenses applicable to the commission. It does not have a TIF attached to it. However, these funds do have been coming from the union TIF by transfer. So you can see there that so far this year, the mandatory $500 for the bonds per member, $100 per member, and the board member stipends of $28.50. Expenditures from union TIF, the bottom line expenditures this year, approximately $971,000 out of our appropriated on our budget of $6.9 million. We've been kind of optimistic on getting a couple of the projects started in 2025 that are getting pushed off to 2026. Rail Connect appropriations here, again, very much just are if we needed them, but since Rail Connect and Union TIF share funds, we haven't expended any directly from Rail Connect. And then ADJOURN, general appropriation of $100,000 in 2025. The expenditures for both bond payment and service fees have been $76,500. And finally, Larwill, again, have appropriated approximately $150,000, of which we have spent none. Not for the lack of trying, but we just haven't spent any money. To that note, going on to current and recent projects, just for everyone's information, capital infrastructure for 2025. The only one I could think of, and maybe I'm not remembering, but the only one I could think of was the All-Pro towing sewer commitment that we've made, the commitment to extend sewer to them. Water and drainage, I don't think we had any major projects that we've dealt with in 2025. For roads, 100 South reconstruction and Overdeer Drive, which is the connection between 600 East and Yellow River, are still in design. And again, that's one that construction will be looked at for 2026. We finished out the Rogers Market spec building. Project Freedom is still, we're still moving with it. Training and vocational programs, the USSI training grant, finished out Smith Green's cybersecurity training program. We also finished out and we made the agreement with Impact CNC for their new series of training grants. Still have the bond in lieu for ADJOURN and Cetera, and as I mentioned about the fire protection services. Potential and planned projects, these are things that we've talked about. Things that I haven't yet mentioned, 800 East, potentially some of the road work that will need to be done in the vicinity of SDI as US 30 starting to come about in interchange. So there may be some need for us to put some money towards that. Aligned with that or along with that, road crossing improvements both at 800 East and Page Road are things we've talked about. Generally US 30 construction. Looking at Project Freedom on Yellow River Road, and then also Larwill for property development purposes. And finally, the required impact to taxing units. So these two fine tables. So our 2025 property tax distributions to each of our TIF districts. Union TIF in 2025 received $2,867,969.57. That is the actual TIF distribution, and then we've been gaining interest off of that as well, which is not shown here. Rail Connect, $250,826. ADJOURN, $135,000. and Larwill was $20,692, for a grand total TIF income of 3.2 million, almost 3.3 million. So the impact to taxing units is on the right-hand table. If all of that money was released to the underlying taxing units at the current 2025 rates, ignoring maximum levy caps, ignoring rate changes because of various reasons, but just applying that, the county share would be just under $800,000. Union Township's share would be about $150,000. WCCS's share would be $2.3 million. Richland Township, based upon the Larwill rate, which I found out yesterday, Richland Township actually charges a lower rate within the incorporated area of Larwill versus the township itself. But Richland Township would receive about $450, actually a little bit higher than that because of the unincorporated areas. South Whitley Library would be about $1,500, Whitco would be $9,400, and the town of Larwill would be $6,267. Again, some assumptions in that, but relatively illustrative of what the impacts would be if we pass through 100% of all of our TIF funds. So that covers our annual obligation to give a presentation on our financials to the underlying taxing units. Any questions for me or Tiffany or anybody else?
So exciting.
I'll just chime in on some general comments. I know, it seems like we present some of these bigger amounts every year, and we may or may not do them. For whatever reason, there are a lot of leads coming from the state for properties, especially like the Niedermeyer. So we are gonna, especially once I get my act together here and we get moving on this stuff, I can really see us finally doing something with these dollars on a really good project on the Niedermeyer property. And there's another project I'm working right now because of the rail we have here, so that touches the tip. So, I'm very hopeful that we are gonna be doing some stuff this year.
Yeah, the Niedermeyer property, Schrader property, and Heinen's property are all key properties that I think with the right project, they'll be very impactful.
Yeah, I've had 3 state leads just in the last couple of weeks on Lilly County properties.
I know we're talking about expenses here, but does the revenue, what's gonna be the impact on revenue with SB1 coming in? Do we have any?
No clue, and especially who knows what the state legislature will do in the next couple months. That might be retroactive to change stuff yet again, so we'll find out.
I think the biggest impact was when the mini mill property tax went into effect a couple years ago, and what SDI is not putting into the TIF like they were.
Because we have a legacy TIF, I believe the effect of including some tax caps on the, the 2% caps and how that's calculated, that may actually have some effect on us that other TIFs wouldn't. But largely, as I understand it, SB1 kind of carved out much of the TIF to protect them because they knew that there were bonds and stuff, but I don't know. Andy, do you know?
No, we don't have any, there's ADJOURN, but other than that, we don't really have any outstanding bond payments that are significantly impactful that we have to worry about. And it's big, there's a huge impact on residential, which doesn't impact us much either. Like, I think you said we're a legacy TIF, so we do get some residential.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a huge part of our revenue.
Relative to SDI, no, but
Yeah.
we do have Lincoln Point, we do have other houses that have come in, so there's a substantial amount, but not in relative terms.
Jill, do you know, has the school board kind of looked at what might be coming for them?
Well, we know we're facing a deficit because of the new legislation. The idea of a referendum's been kicked around, but we really don't wanna do that. So hopefully we can
We just all sit here like
do what
this.
everyone else says do, live within your means, but it is probably gonna mean cutting some staff, some programs. Luckily, our teachers this year were willing to go along with a very small pay increase. You probably already know we'll be facing, well, not facing, but having a new superintendent, so, starting next year. So there might be some different directions in leadership with a different superintendent, so. Everybody tightens their belts, I guess, but just for clarification, when does the Uniontown TIF district dissolve?
2033, I think.
33, 34, 35, one of those years.
I think it's
Oh.
34.
You're right.
I think it's 34.
It's in the annual report, I could look it up.
Well, I'm just curious, because I know there's still pressure at the state from the ISTA to force TIFs to give pass-through of 15%. They're asking the legislature to consider that, but who knows if that'll ever be considered, but I guess I would like this group to consider that as well, since we're all facing tightening budgets. Every year we're told, oh no, we're spending all that money, we need all that money. Other TIFs do a pass-through, 5%, 10%, 15%. This group has never done that. So I know Jim Arbright and I used to always go back and forth, and he'd say, you know, be happy we gave you $7 million for your high school project, which is undisputable, but also looking at this, we give up a substantial sum every year for the TIP. So I'm just asking for that consideration. I think I ask for it every year, but to consider some type of pass-through. And I realize that when you approve a pass-through, it affects not only the school, but all the other underlying taxing districts. But again, since we're all facing a shortfall, I think that's something that this group should consider.
And because it's a pass-through, Andy, the same spending rules apply, so property taxes for schools can only be spent on what, capital, infrastructure, transportation, so if we pass through, just add to their capital budget?
I think what you're asking is not to give money to school, but to actually forego increment of percentage.
That's what I mean, if we did it that way.
It would go into their normal budget cycle, however,
Right,
yeah.
would have the normal rules about how they can spend it. So property taxes can only be spent on capital and transportation costs primarily.
I honestly don't know school boards,
Oh,
school
okay.
associations' rules of how they spend, so.
Oh,
Yeah.
there might be a referendum too, so.
Okay.
Okay, it might help out the operating budget too, so. We have discussed the idea of, in lieu of passing through, doing other payments that would bypass some of those other restrictions, so. Things to keep in mind as ideas for the future.
Will you be coming in front of the council next month with this?
No?
Okay. Just-
The presentation to underlying units was your
I know.
representative of the council.
Yeah.
So if you want me to, I can.
I think
but-
we did it one year and
Yeah, you did
we
it.
were like, let's not
Council
do
could
that.
come too
Yeah.
today.
Yeah, they were invited to come here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just curious with you.
Yeah, no, I don't plan on it, and this is being recorded, so anybody who wants to listen to me drone on for 15 minutes can.
And I can always forward on the presentation when you want it on.
Yeah. At least you can
Okay.
watch it at, double speed.
Any further discussion on that? Okay, we'll move on then. Project updates, Freedom.
Brent and I are meeting with the property owner of the Triangle Wooded Lot tomorrow. Just starting the process of, all right, what might an option look like? Again, Not sure what he's thinking, we'll share with him.
Excuse me.
The appraisals, not sure the appraisals will cover if he was trying to duplicate that kind of property and set up somewhere else in the county, but.
Do you have
it's
the
just
appraisals done already?
The appraisals are done.
Okay. You don't have to share those with them, you know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, okay, well, I was gonna say, and then the road project is, I finally did get a hold of the gentleman from DCR, and I'm meeting with him next week, and hopefully in person, and kind of show him what we're thinking.
I did reach out to REMC, been working with Steve Elkins about terminating the electrical at Niedermeyer. I'll keep you updated on that.
Okay. 100 South?
Handoff is underway to the consultant. Gathered all my files and we uploaded them to the SharePoint yesterday. Couple of outstanding things and we'll get working on it.
Okay, good. Larwill?
Got
John,
nothing.
Any update? Okay. US 30?
Not exactly related to US 30, but we have had a person who's interested in buying the John Pop property on the northwest corner, 600 East and US 30, which has been for sale at John Pop's prices for years and years and years, but it's finally gotten some interest. Drawback of it is, it's about 26 acres, about half of which is lowland mucky area, but the highland area has great visibility, so you get the right project in there. It might well, but with US 30 and the uncertainty of whether it'll be an overpass or how it'll work there also kind of works against this property. So excited to see some movement on it, but still some hesitation on exactly what might be happening with it.
Okay. Anything else on US 30?
Not that I did.
Not had any meetings lately.
Okay. We had a walkthrough. That was interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a lot different from back, about a year ago we walked through it, and it was kind of clean and
Yeah, and full.
full. So, seems like they got a lot of things going on.
Mhm.
Impact does out there, so,
Yes.
well, good. Okay, anything else on that? If not, miscellaneous matters.
I just, again, you never know with some of these projects, but, we have a project that we made first cut, they're asking a bajillion questions. And it is the Schrader property because of its rail serve or PG. So just, you know, if we make that in the next pass, there could be interest in this body helping with some infrastructure or maybe a new road to the site. It is an international company and it's considerable investment. Nothing too sexy, but it would be a really nice investment.
Are they sold on new construction? Do they need the acreage or within landmaster?
No, they specifically want like 30 acres of
Okay.
their chance to start over. It does include, and I've talked to Brent and Nathan about this, they have several large silos for resin pellets and that kind of stuff. I mean, it doesn't look much different than a silage silo, so it might look in place out there.
Anything else? Well, we'll move on to claims then.
We just the one?
Yeah.
Just the one.
Well.
Yeah, you can count on that to keep coming, can't you?
Carson LLP, services rendered through November 30th. $1,793. No, that's not correct. That one, whole thing. $2,408.
Everybody's had a chance to look at it. I'll entertain a motion.
So move to accept the claims as presented.
Okay, we have a first or second.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? There being none, all in favor, raise your right hand. All them opposed, the same. Let it show that it passed. Okay, we got a couple minutes that we have to approve. Back in November the 12th, 2025. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes?
Yeah, I only had one comment on the November 25 minutes. At the end, I just need to adjust the adjournment time.
Ooh, blinded me.
Hmm?
You blinded me.
No. Okay. You see what I
She's
mean?
got a flashlight.
I don't have it in front of me.
Oh,
I didn't
okay.
keep a copy.
So, yeah, it says we adjourned at 7:24, and I'm assuming it was 8:24.
Very good.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion. Are you gonna approve both at the same time?
Yeah, so,
Okay.
subject to that change, I would make a motion that we approve both the November 12, 2025 and the November 25, 2025 minutes as presented.
Second.
Do we have a first and a
Frank.
second? Frank,
Yeah.
second. We have a first and a second. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor, raise your right hand. All them opposed, the same. Let it show that it passed. Okay. Our next regular meeting will be December the 23rd.
So if we don't have any pressing business, which, given that it's the 23rd of December, it would need to be some really pressing business, we'll probably see you next year, so.
I can come up.
I was gonna offer you a cookie back.
Well, everybody have a Merry Christmas and a happy holiday season then.
Anybody got any, Jill, you have anything else? Dale? Scott? Andy?
Nope.
No.
John?
Nope.
Teresa? Frank?
No, sir.
I have none. Yeah, we wish you all a Merry Christmas and thanks. Be safe. Well, adjourned.